Yesterday we have automated tweet pop-up. How can we handle a pop-up, right? So this is our landing page. From this page, we navigated to date and type picker page, and there we clicked on the tweet pop-up. Then we switched to another tab, and there we did some actions and closed that child window, came back to parent window. But this tweet was inside the internal frame. So that internal frame I have shown you how to handle with our reusable methods. We created one utility reusable methods class. From that class, so we call all the methods. All the same related methods I included in that class. Okay, so the next test case is a button test. You need to click on this button link in the left panel, then you will land in this button page. So the basic test case, what we are going to do here is you have to fetch all these buttons, a group of elements. Basically, here the scenario is you need to fetch this group of elements into a collection. How to fetch a group of elements into a collection, then iterate that collection, print each collection, each button name we need to print. So this is the test case we need to do. So observe here each button, the group of elements, if you want to get, you should have a common locator. Make sure every button has a same common locator or same locator, right? So right click on the one button. So understand the HTML structure. Which property is common for many buttons, you analyze first. Now this is a button, okay? Button tag, that means it's a button. ID, I told you in this website, ID and name you should not use because those are dynamically changes. So we need to look for other than ID and name. What is there? Class is there. Class and type button also there. So these two might help us. So let's see the class Z button. With the class we have a locator, class name locator, right? So we might use this. Let's see second button. Other buttons, what it has, same class is there or not, we'll check. And see that second button also having same class value Z hyphen button. Third button, check the third button. So third button also has the same class value Z button. That means every button has a class value Z hyphen button. So based on the class, I can pull all these buttons into list collection, right? In this website, in this page, which is having a same class, all of them I am pulling into a list collection. That's what the test case we are going to do. So let's start from the scratch. This is my landing page. So the first test case, let's create a test at the rate test method. I'll create at the rate test. So public void a button test. So button test. So I am automating this button, right? Reporter.log. So here I am started executing the button test. Button test. Okay. Then, so first step is we need to click on the button link in the left panel. So reporter.log and so click on button link in left panel. So that's a step we need to write in the using logger. So reporter.log we are using to log our messages. Driver.find element by dot link text. It's a link. That's why I'm using a link text locator. Copy. So just spy on that element, right? Spy on this element. So click on button and spy on that. We are spying and get the button text value in between the anchor tags. Then dot click method. Dot click method you have to use. So then what we need to do after that, it will go to next page, right? So that page, this breadcrumb you validate, or this page title you validate. Both we will do. Okay, let me show you how to do both. Reporter dot log, and so wait and verify the breadcrumb first. Breadcrumb. So I think we have done this already, right? Here we have done that breadcrumb related. Yeah, here it is. And also page title validation also you can do that. So these two lines I'll just copy and paste it from here. So repeated code we can just reuse it, right? We can reuse it. So this is the one. Maybe I'll remove this. I think it will be same breadcrumb, ID breadcrumb. So input, so I'll just put button breadcrumb input, so greater than button. So you can see that it has a same breadcrumb. This is called breadcrumb. See that ID breadcrumb is there. Now ID breadcrumb. So this is the ID value I'm passing here. So by dot presence of element located. So wait dot until expected conditions dot presence of element located by dot ID, and ID value we are passing. So that's how we can verify that. Then I need to verify the this page title, right? Verify the page title. Which page title? We need to verify ZK live demo and this page title. Get that page title. How can you get? Go to header tag and look for the title tag. So wherever the title tag is there, look for that and then copy that title value from the, so this title, okay, copy it and then paste it here. This value you need to paste it, and then same here also you validate. And this is a wait command, mainly wait dot until expected conditions dot title contains ZK live demo button. And you use assertions also, right? Assertions hard assert dot assert true driver dot get page source contains this value is there or not in the source code. We can verify. So that's how you can validate. Initial checkups, basically you are in the correct page or not, you can confirm with this process. So that's the intention of waiting and validating with assertions. So always use assertions, otherwise it's not a perfect test case if you don't use assertions, right? Always use assertions. That will make sure you are validating or you are verifying perfectly. Okay, next. You need to fetch all these buttons into collection. So next step is reporter.log fetch. So all the buttons into list collection, So that you do that. Then you can just list web element, all are web elements, okay? And button list equal to driver dot find elements by dot to class name, right? We saw that class name is common, so the common thing we can take that common locator, we can take it. So that button is a common for all the buttons. So how many buttons are with the class name Z button? All those buttons will come and store in the this button list collection. So import this list from java.util package, and that's it. You got the collection. So now you want to know how many buttons are there. Reporter.log number of buttons. number of buttons. So this collection name button list dot size method. Button list dot size method. So you can use, right? Button list dot size method you can use. Now, so what we can do here is I need to iterate. Either you can use the iterator method for each loop or normal for loop. So I'm going to use a normal for loop here. So normal for loop or for each loop, it's up to you. I'm not restricting you whichever the locator. It's a list, right? List means you can iterate 3 ways that already explained for you. So I'll just use for each loop. As of now, use for each loop. Next test case will use normal for loop. Web element data type and b colon the button list, the collection name. This is the for each loop, and then you print each button name, right? So b is the element dot get text. I want a text of each element, so that's what I'm doing, right? It's done. So a button test case is done. Ended executing the button test. That's it. This is the one test case. I can write some description for this. So parenthesis description keyword we are using. Second keyword I'm introducing fetching all the buttons. Right? That's one. And next test case, I'll same copy and paste it here. Almost similar we are doing. So this is the tick box test. Tick box test we are doing. Second, third one, tick box test. So go back, click on this breadcrumb. It will go to input page. And here you can see there is a tick box link in the left panel. Click on tick box link in the left panel. This is also a link. Just copy this link name and just give it here. So wherever checkbox is there, I just change it. So driver dot find element by dot link text checkbox dot click. We're clicking on the checkbox link in the left panel. Then verify the title ZK demo live. That's the one. Wherever button is there, just replace with the checkbox. And breadcrumb also the same. So first, once you click on that, it will go to next page, right? And we are verifying the page title. So wait dot until expected conditions dot title contains ZK live demo checkbox. So let's see that. Click on this. Let's move to the next page. And I am verifying this page title and verifying this breadcrumb. So this breadcrumb. So then the next step is I have to fetch all these checkboxes into collection, right? I have to fetch all these checkboxes into collection. Then I need to check each and every checkbox, and also the button names you will get here, the checkbox names you will get here. So those things I need to get it. This is the test case we need to do. So what is the test case we need to do? We have to check this each and every checkbox. If checkbox is not ticked, then only I have to check this checkbox. Then after checking all the checkboxes, get the text of selected checkboxes here. So this is the test case we need to do. Let's see. So you want to fetch all of them into collection. What we need to do? You have to construct a locator or XPath which is common to all. See that here ID type area labeled by. But I told you ID you should not take. ID dynamically changes. Only type attribute is there. So second checkbox you observe. The second checkbox also you have a same input tag type is there. So that means type is common to all the checkboxes. Type is common to all checkboxes. So based on the type, I will construct my XPath. So let's construct an XPath to fetch fetch all the checkboxes. Checkboxes into list collection. So here let's put checkbox list driver dot find elements by dot xpath. I'm going to construct xpath. So what is the xpath we need to construct? Just see that double forward slash star square bracket at the rate type equal to checkbox. So this is the value, and then number of checkboxes. So you can say number of checkboxes. So this collection dot. So I'm going to use a normal for loop instead of for each loop. I'll use int I equal to 0, right? Int I equal to 0 because collection starts with the first element, and I less than checkbox list collection dot size method and I plus plus, right? Now what we need to do, we have to select, right? We have to select each checkbox. If so, this checkbox list dot get of I is not selected, is selected method I'm using. So I have to use a negation here. So negation, if not selected, then check this checkbox. This is the checkbox element. Checkbox list dot get of I is the checkbox element. Then dot click method. So every click after, I'll just include a little bit lagging. Okay. So thread dot sleep. So I'll add 1 second only. 1 second I will add. I don't want to add more than that. So done. So this is the let's use the exception, throws exception I'm using. So after that, I want to fetch all the selected checkboxes. So now reporter.log. So reporter.log fetch all the selected checkbox text, right? So this is what we are going to do. Now string selected checkbox text equal to, so driver dot find element, so by dot xpath. So obviously we need to write an xpath. So what is the xpath? So select this. So now border you are getting here, right? You'll get a border here. Why you are not getting? It's a processing. See that this is the Ajax calls. You have to wait for the Ajax calls. You have to wait for the this Ajax calls should not be present. So this is a loading indicator, Z loading indicator. You can tell that. So wait for the invisibility of this loading. You can wait for this. If it is not there, that's fine. If it is there, then so I'll write a simple code here. So after this, I need to wait. So wait dot until expected conditions dot invisibility of element located. Invisibility of element located. I'm waiting for the invisibility of that element. Class name, just give the class value. So based on this loading indicator, I want to wait for the invisibility of that locator. Right? You click on that so that the Ajax call is going to call. So you wait for that invisibility. So then sometimes you will get like this. Don't worry. Just refresh, it will go. So this is the test case done, right? Next, second one. I don't know. So yeah, it's selected now. Portal and column. See that all these are coming. This text I need to fetch. So, but this is a dynamic, right? So this is a dynamic text. So based on this text, I'll identify this text. So first identify this text. You have selected. There's a span tag. You have selected. A lot of spaces are there. See that. So if the spaces you want to ignore, what we need to do? How can we construct an XPath? How can we construct an XPath? Which concept do we need to use? If this kind of spaces, you want to ignore all of them.
Contains.
Super, excellent. That's a contains formula we have to use. Contains of, that's the text. So text function, comma, single quote, you give the text. That's it. So you identified the text, but that's not, that is identifying this one. This is your base element. Based on this, you want to identify this element. So let's identify what tag is there for this. Following, right? Following. So this you have selected is followed by this text. So that's why that also has a span tag. So following. So is following concept you have to write. So then you just do that slash following is as the span tag. Then you just give get text method. That's it. So let me expand it so that you can see the full line. So this is the complete code how to write. If you have a doubt, just identify with your Catalan recorder. We have a Catalan recorder, right? You just open it and give this XPath there. Any just one row, you select one row and give that locator in the last row. Yeah, we have so many rows empty. Just go to one empty row, right? So this is the empty row, and paste in the target place. So then click on that. The second element, which is dynamic, that element we are identifying here based on the other element. So this is how to construct an XPath if the elements are dynamically changing, right? We got it. Let's print that value. So all the selected boxes are, all the selected box text is, and plus, and this value, right? Third test case is also done. So the last test case, let's quickly finish and we can run this entire test cases. So we'll play around, but we want this entire code, just copy and paste. We can reuse the lot of code. So the last one is a radio button test. Radio button test. So just I think we need to change here something. Fetch all the tick boxes. Not this one. This one. Fetch all the check boxes and select them. Right? That's a test case. So select a few radio buttons. Select a few radio buttons. Radio buttons. So this is the radio button test. Same, you go and see then in the left panel, you can find that. Just go there and you go to click on breadcrumb, and then you will land in this page. Click on this radio button link. Just spy on this, take the link text. So A tag means it's a link text. Just copy and paste it here. So click on radio button in left panel, just link text. You can use partial link text. We didn't use partial link. Let me use partial link text. Okay, partial link text. It also works, right? But I'm not giving partial link text, but I'm giving complete text here. Then still you can use partial link text. So we didn't use till now. That's why I'm just using this partial link text. And then, so the title will be, sorry. So let's copy this. This radio button link, you just copy and paste it here. Wherever this checkbox is, replace with that. First, we are verifying the title. Wait dot until expected condition start. Title contains ZK live demo radio button. So you do a hard assertions. Driver dot get page source contains ZK Live Demo, yes, radio button. So then, so this breadcrumb also you validate. So wait dot until expected condition start. Presence of element located. I'm waiting for the presence of this element. I'm waiting. So wait. You're telling wait until this element is present in the HTML. So that's what you are telling. So anyhow, this is the next test case is it's not a list. We have to select one by one, right? So select one by one. So select one radio button. So this is also a tricky part because the radio button ID and name values dynamically changes here. So every portion will select one by one. Here one, and here it is one, and another one. So three sections are we have. Feature. First one is the feature section. This one is all feature section, and second one is website section, and third one is a document section. So each section I'm selecting one, and I'm picking this value. What are the values selected? The radio button. So that value it will come here, performance. If I select bug fixing, it will come bug fixing here. So that dynamic value here. Again, the same concept we have used for fetching all the checkboxes. Same following concept you apply here to identify to this bug fixing or some other value of feature. Feature is constant. The feature value is a dynamic. Any value it can be there. So that value we can fetch with following concept. Contains text following. Simple, right? So let's do that. First, I'll identify this performance label. Based on the label, I will identify that first input tag, that is performance radio button. Radio button has input tag. Performance text is having a label tag. So using a label, I'll identify this performance label. Then performance radio button, if you want, use a preceding performance before. That's why you have to use a preceding. Select the performance radio button. Come down. Now, so select means for radio button, which method we need to use? Which method we need is for radio button? Label, square bracket, text function equal to the text value. So which method we need to use for radio button? CD is as first input tag. Which method we need to use for radio button?
Click
method.
Click method. Now, so we need to fetch the value of that feature. Fetch the feature value. Fetch the selected feature value. Feature text. Same concept. So selected feature text. Feature text equal to driver dot find element by dot xpath. It's almost similar. Double forward slash contains text. Just this feature text. So that this also has a lot of spaces. Instead of that, what we need to do? Contains. Just use the contains. Feature, I'm just using this. I will remove this entire thing, right? Just use feature. Then following, and this is also span. This is also span, and the dynamic text also has a span tag. You have to identify dynamic text also, because this feature is followed by this span tag. So give span tag, following span tag, get text, fetch that text, print this. So the fetch text, and same you repeat for all three sections. So all three sections. So the second section is select. So which radio button? So we need to select next to forum radio button. I'll select. So get the forum radio button. Select the forum radio button. Just change here forum radio button. That's it. You don't need to do anything. Fetch the selected website text. So website text. Selected website text is so you just give here website text. You are selecting here, right? That value will come here automatically. So I'll just copy. So this is all the spaces you can ignore with contains. So then forum you will get it here. You'll get a forum here. You'll get a forum there. Just do that. So I'm identifying the website text and followed by that span and getting that text. So just print that. So the selected feature text is, so the selected website text is, and website text, that's it. The next one, what is the next option you want to select? So next option you want to select which one? So I want to select, my next option is developer guide. I want to select a developer guide. So identify the developer guide, and so copy this developer guide radio button. Select developer guide radio button. Just put it here. In the XPath, you select that. Then fetch the selected document text. Selected document text. So here you just give the documentation, that file. So almost similar, right? Just give the documentation text. So this is how you observe. So we have discussed the points how to handle dynamically changing. So 1 or 2 times you have to observe. So you will easily understand it's changing, right? The values are changing. If you can observe here, if you select a developer guide, you're getting a developer guide here. If you select some other value, you're getting that value here. That means it's a dynamic, right? So the dynamic values how to get. So write a proper access XPath, you can get that values. So which the selected documentation text is documentation text. So that's all the test cases. Okay, let's run all the 4 test cases. In which order they're going to execute, we can observe one by one. Okay, I haven't used any priority here. Observe, I haven't used any priority here. So no priority for any test case. We didn't give any priority here, right? Please watch this carefully. Please watch this carefully, which order they are going to execute. So I click and run as test-ng test. So a class with multiple @test methods, and we are running without any priority keyword. Just a description keyword I have added with @test. So that description, where whatever you have given, that will show you in the report. The first, which one executed? Button test. Then second one, tick box test is adding. Okay, it is looking for that invisibility of element located. So okay, gone through. We can remove thread.sleep. We don't need a thread.sleep now. You can remove the thread.sleep. You can save the time, because we added a wait command, right? If you add wait command, you can remove it. Thread.sleep you can remove. Wait, that is the explicit wait command. So you can use that explicit wait to handle this. And yeah, so this is all tick box test is done. They all are checked. So this is another scenario, you can how to check multiple check boxes. This is the way you can iterate all of them. Switch all of them into collection, then iterate one by one. So that's another scenario also you are getting here. A lot of scenarios you're getting here. Please catch that. Right? Date and time picker. So we're executing here. So this is the pop-up. Is that done? So time is taken and 4 test cases ran and 4 are passed. No failures and 0 skipped. So how can we see this report? So let's go to a report, right? Let's go to the report. Here we have 3 reports, right? Just play on this. Refresh. Just refresh. You don't need to again copy paste the entire path. We already have that paths. So again, the report will generate on the same location. Right? We didn't create our customized suite file. So same suite file will be there. That 4 test cases passed and Friday, Jan 29, 7:40. 119 seconds it has taken. So this button test first, tick box test second, third one radio button, last one tweet pop-up test. This is the alphabetical order, right? Observe this. Is it alphabetical order or not? So it is executing alphabetical order if you don't give any priority concept. It's in TestNG, it will execute in that order, the alphabetical order. Now, second report. It's also same, you don't need to copy paste. Again, the path, emailable report.html. That same, all this, we can get it here. That. So the text, you're getting all the text. So the values you can get, website text, so all this documentation text. Oh, oops, we missed the documentation text immediately. So I think we need some time here. Yeah. So last one, selected feature text. So after selection, we need some value here. We need some time. Yes. So this is the radio button test. The values we didn't get that properly. So this is the values of this. So let's fix that. So radio button test, you need some wait time. So we don't need a wait time for the check boxes. So I'll include wait time for the radio button test. I'll just remove this and I'll include after selecting each radio button, right? Each radio button, I can put some thread dot sleep. Little bit, not much. 1 second we are adding. Enough, 1 second is enough. If still not sufficient, we'll see that, right? So this is the one. And so what are the things we need to improve? Yeah, that's it, right? And then last report also you can see 4 methods. These are 4 methods. See that this is a description value, whatever you have given there with the description keyword, that is coming on each method after, right? That's the order. So if you want to see order, go to chronological view. You can see launch browser, open the URL, button test first, then after method. Again before method, test method, after method. Again before method, test method, after method. Again before method, test method, after method. Finally, after class. This is the before class and this is the after class. So before class will execute for your class 1 time. And after class, after completing all the test cases, finally after class will execute. So before method and after method will repeat for every test method. First before method, then test method, then after method. Again before method, second test method, after method. Again one more test is there. Again cursor will go to before method code, executes that, then it will come to next test method, then after method. So this cycle will rotate on these 3 if you have multiple test methods in your current class. So the before method is test method level. Before method is test method level, and before test is test tag level. So that's a clear indication and differences between before test and before method. One more time I have given that. Now let's use one by one priority. I'll use priority keyword. Now I want to execute first a tweet pop-up. Priority equal to 1. Next I want to execute button test. I want to execute a button test second. So comma, here I will RITY priority equal to second. Then third one, I want to execute radio button test, priority equal to third. And fourth one, I want to execute last this sigma, priority equal to 4. So I'm using priority to organize our test methods, right? So let's do that. Run now test case. So same order is coming or not, you can see that. Now I'm using @test method, @test keywords. First I use a description, data provider. Now we're using priority keyword. Now I'm using priority keyword. I'm prioritizing my test cases. The first tweet pop-up is executing. Otherwise, before it executed this button test, right? But I changed the order with the priority keyword. I am prioritizing my own order with the priority keyword only. You can do. That's the advantage in TestNG. We don't have this feature in JUnit. So this is the whichever order you have given, the same order it will be maintained. Okay. So that's it. The order, you can go and check the order also. So the last one is a checkbox test. So checkbox test is executing. So that invisibility of that Ajax call. This is the, we are handling here Ajax calls, and we are handling how to select multiple checkboxes and how to fetch that dynamic text. So many concepts are coming in one test case. So please digest all of them one by one to catch each point and apply in your automation whenever you're getting such kind of scenarios, right? So that's all about the priority keyword. You can just go and refresh your reports. You can just go and refresh the reports. Refresh. That 4 methods are passed. Fine. Which order they executed? You want to see? Go to chronological view. First, see that. After class, before method, a tweet pop-up test. After method, again before method, a button test second. After method, again before method, radio button test. Third one, we have given priority 3 for radio button test. After method, and before method, checkbox test, I have given priority 4. That's why last checkbox test is executed. The same you can see here also, the order of execution, but it is showing in this order, but order you are not getting in email availability. You can go to index.html. You can see the order in the chronological view. You can get which order it is executed, and reporter output you want. So you can see here reporter output. So the logger messages. These are all log messages. You can see log messages here. So your output you are getting or not, you can see here also, right? So this is all about the reports and priority keyword. Next, so we need to say, I want to skip particular test case. How can I skip my test case? So suppose I don't want to execute my radio button test, right? I don't want to execute this checkbox test. So what I can do, enabled equal to false. You set enabled equal to false. Then this method is not going to execute. See that? So run as is another concept. How can you skip the test cases in TestNG? So you write enabled equal to false. And one more concept. In particular class, I have 4 methods now, right? I don't want to run 2 methods. How can you exclude them? How can you exclude them? That's the question. One is enabled equal to false. You can set it won't run for both the test cases. And another one is So in the suit file, you create a suit file. For this class, you class tag inside, you write the methods tag. Then methods tag inside, you write a include tag name equal to, you mention which two methods you want to run. Then automatically the rest of all the methods in this class will be excluded. That's it. See, only 3 methods are executed now. That's another concept, how to ignore or skip currently. You don't want to execute them. See that now you will get only 3 test cases executed. Before it was 4. Now see that button test, radio button, tweet pop-up. Box is skipped. So here also same report you will get it. And here also you will get only 3 will show. 3 methods, 3 pass. So where can I see my skipped one? You can see here there is a ignored methods. See, this is the ignored methods. One method is ignored. So this is the how to skip the test cases. So till now I have shown you how to do a data driven testing, and then second one, how to prioritize your test cases, how to skip your test cases. And next one, I want to use the timeout. So timeout equal to 3 seconds. So I'm saying my radio button test should finish within 3 seconds. I'm saying, let's see whether it is going to finish or not. Okay, let's run this. Next, timeout keyword I'm using. See, multiple keywords I'm using by separating with the comma in the @test parenthesis inside. I have used a description, comma, priority, comma, and timeout. Select the multiple keywords you can use with @test by separating with comma. You know, date and time pick first tweet pop-up. Then multiple times you run, you will find out the stability of your test case also. That's why run multiple times so that your stability of your test cases you can find by running multiple times. So it should not pass. If you're coding, it should run always without any issues. That's this. See that one failed. 4 test cases, but 1 failed. So 3 test cases you run, but passes to failure 1. So now, what is the reason for failure? The thread timeout exception. You go to reports and you can see a nice explanation, right? See that 3 methods ran, 1 failed, 2 passed. The failed one is showing in the red color. You can see here, and this is the exception. This is the exception. What is the exception? org.testng.internal.thread timeout exception. Method testng programs ZK demo test radio button test didn't finish within the timeout 3000 milliseconds. It is not able to finish in 3 seconds, the test case. It is taking more time. That's why, and it is reporting failure, right? So that you need to find out why it is taking more time. That we need to find out. So that's the how to use a timeout. If you want to take particular test case should finish within 3 seconds or 5 seconds, whatever the time you are giving, you can see now. See here, passed is 2, failed is 1. So failed is showing in red color and passed one in green color. So here also you can see. So passed 1 2, failed 1 1, skipped is 0. So 42 seconds. The failed one is in the red color. It is showing clearly. It will be visible to you, and click on to show all stack frames. So you can see the reason for this failure. Okay, so that's the how to use timeout. So any questions before going for the next concept of? Okay, so one more thing, I want to invoke my test case multiple times. How can I invoke my test case multiple times? Suppose this method I want to run multiple times. What we need to use? Invocation count equal to 3. I'm saying the button test should run 3 times. After that only it should go to next test case, right? That's what we are going to do. So just run this. All the keywords we have used, till now. So I have used enabled equal to false, skipping the test cases. Timeout, so you're telling particular test case should run within that time. If not, the test case will result in failure. Next one, priority we have used. Then we are using invocation count now. Description we have used. Data provider we have used. And few more keywords are there. That is groups keyword, depends on method, always run, and @ parameters are there. That also I'll show you. So today we can finish that concepts also. Right? So done. Total 5 test cases, 4 ran and 1 failure. So you can just go and see the reports. It is showing total 4 and 1 failed. So 5 test cases ran, and see button test is repeating thrice. 3 times it is executed. Who is doing this? Invocation count equal to, so that keyword, it is helping to run multiple times same test case. See that 3 times it is executing. So 3 times it is executing that so button test. So this is all how we can run this, and then you can see this one more. So that's the complete 3 times. So pass test cases you can see here. So 3 times the button test is executed. So this is the next one. And one more concept I want to explain here. Suppose a few test cases, I'll just comment out this, okay? This one, I'll take this till here only, because so we don't want this now disabling. I want a few test cases, right? I want few test cases, okay, with the priority, and 2 test cases without priority. What will happen? So priority cases I'm explaining here. Priority cases I'm explaining. Let it pass, okay? Let it pass. So we'll comment out this first @ test. So I'll give the next one. This one, okay? @ test. So @ test. So I'm giving @ test priority equal to 3, and this one checkbox test also I given priority equal to 4. So these two I'm not giving any priority. So I'm not going to give any priority for these two. So button test and remaining things, tweet pop-up, I'm not giving any priority, just I'm using without priority. So now what will happen is here. So that means 2 test methods with the priority you're using, and 2 test methods without priority you're doing. So now which order they will execute? This is another interview question. So you got my question? So what we are doing here, in my class, 2 methods or few test methods, I'm using priority keyword. I'm prioritizing them. But few methods I'm not giving any priority. I didn't use it at all priority keyword. So which order they will execute? That's what the interview question. So tricky, right? This is the question many times people are asking. See that. Which order it is executed? You see, practically I'm showing for you. So you can understand the order now. Basically, whatever the order you give, 3, 4 means first 3 has to execute, then 4 has to execute. But which one it is executing, you observe that. First it is executing button. We didn't give any priority. And that is taking button first. Then second, tweet pop-up it is taking. Whichever you haven't given a priority, that will be treated as a priority 0. Priority 0 it is considering. And then based on that it is executing. Then rest of the things are executing now. See that. So rest of the things are executing now. So this is the how to answer that is If you don't give any priority, first those will be executed, then it will go to priority ones. So there are a lot of questions on the priority keyword. So many questions. If I give negative, what will happen? If I give negative, what will happen? So let's see that also. That scenario also we'll see that. So let's finish this. I'm giving priority negative. I'll give -4. What will happen? You see that. So this all you can give. Can you give a negative values for the priority? Yes, we can give. That's the answer you have to give. And all these questions are included in our blog. Please watch each and every TestNG interview questions. You don't need to go anywhere. Just watch this and read that and watch our videos. So you will get the answers for all those questions. And now the order, if you want to see, you can just go here. You can see the order. See the order. Chronological view, first button, then tweet, then radio button, then checkbox. Right? So that's the order it executed. So now I'm going to give a negative. This is the 4, right? -4 I'll give. -4 I'm giving. -4 I'm giving. So which one will execute now first? Catch the line up. So can we give a negative values per priority? Yes, we can give. That's the answer. Then some of them you have given a negative values. Some of them you have given a positive values. Some you didn't give any values. Then which order it will take? There might be any questions they will ask, but you need to understand priority, how it will be categorized. See, the first, third one it is taking. So, but it should take negative one. It should take first minus. So checkbox -1, -4, right? That's why -4 is executing first. -4 is a less, right, than 0. -4 is less than 0. That's why first -4 is the priority. So checkbox is the -4 we have given. That's why first checkbox test is it. And then it will go to 0, priority 0, where we didn't set any priority. If you don't give priority, by default it will set the priority as a 0. Then it will take alphabetical order of that method. So both priority 0, 0, right, equal. So then next precedent, there also conflict has come, right? Priority 0 for 2 test methods. Then which one will consider? The method name. So that's why button test is executing first, then tweet pop-up executing second. So you got the second concept. If 2 test methods has same priority, then how it will decide which one has to execute? Then it will look for the method name. Method name it will consider. So these are the lot of concepts you can get here, right? So let's see here. First checkbox test. See, first checkbox -4 we have given. That's why first. Then button test. I have given. I didn't give anything, but it will treat as a priority 0. So these two are priority 0. So priority 0 means that's a second priority, right? -4 after priority 0 is the second priority. But here the conflict has come, priority 0, then it is taking alphabetical order of the method name. Alphabetical order of the method name it is taking. Then radio button test. Then last one, radio button. That's a positive number we have given 4. The 3, I think. So that is going for that. So this is the next order. That's all the questions you will get on the priority. If I miss anything in the, so in our blog I mentioned the questions, right? Just go through the questions and come back, we'll discuss on priority. So these are almost, I given all the context of priority questions. So a lot of questions I have given, and all those questions there might be asking. One more point, can we give a floating values? That's another question. So this is also already included in our blog. So what is happening? Type mismatch, cannot convert from double to integer. So priority accepts only integer numbers, either positive or negative, but not floating or double values. okay, or float, whatever it is. So floating values are not accepted, right? Another question answer also I have given. I have shown you practically. Please answer all these questions properly. Okay, the next program is, that's all about this. The next program is, I want to group the test cases. How can you group the test cases? Using groups keyword, right? So I'm just copying these two test cases so that we can reduce the time. Oops. So take one by one test case. Okay. I'll explain you. So what we are doing, I'm creating a one test-ng class. Then I'm categorizing my test cases with different groups like smoke or regression test cases. So this one, public class groups test. So at all test methods I have in my class, so many test methods I have. So I'm grouping them, I'm categorizing them with the groups keyword. So at the rate test groups equal to smoke. This is the first test case. Groups test class smoke test one functional. So second test groups equal to smoke. Third test groups equal to smoke. Fourth test groups equal to regression. So the regression test one. So at the test groups equal to regression. At the test groups equal to regression. So few test cases are categorized into groups category. Few test methods are categorized into smoke category. And same group test 2. So this is also another class I created. At the test groups equal to smoke, priority equal to 1. At the test groups equal to smoke, priority equal to 3. So at S test 2, at the test groups equal to smoke, priority equal to 3. And at the test groups equal to regression, rig test 1, rig test 2, rig test 3. 3 test cases I categorized into groups category, that is regression category. Regression category I assigned 3 test cases, and 3 test cases assigned to smoke category, smoke group. So these are the classes I have defined. In my classes I have defined the groups. Now how can you control? Tomorrow your manager will ask only run smoke test cases on the current build. Then what you need to do? So we need to create an XML file for these two. So select those two classes, right click. So test-ng, convert to test-ng. How to create an XML file? Right click on the two classes. Which are the two classes you want to include in your suite file? Then select the option test-ng, then convert to test-ng option. Click on that. So your generate test-ng.xml suite file template will open to you. So I'm giving here my suite name, groups suite. Next one, groups test. So see that those two classes you got it here. Those two classes you got it here. Now I'm going to change my XML path under same package, test-ng programs package. Let's select. So this is our project, right? WebDriver training Jan 7, 2021. Expand that. Go to SRC, then package name. So then give your suite file. The suite file is groups test-ng.xml file. This is XML file. So this is a groups suite file. I'm creating a groups suite file. I'm creating. So I'll leave the classes. So either you can select the class selection, either packages or classes. So I'm selecting the classes. Parallel mode, I don't want to give anything. So keep it as a none. Then thread count, you leave it. So we don't want any thread count now. Click on finish. See that groups test-ng.xml is created. Just click on this. Now we can change this XML file according to our groups format. So select groups, then groups inside run tag you have to select run tag. Then run tag inside you have to write which group you want to run. So then you have to use include tag. So include a tag, the name you give, which group you want to run. I want to run smoke group. So you write exclude tag also. Not necessary, but write for practice purpose. We can write regression. So I mean, that means what you are telling for this suit file, you are telling, okay, in these two classes, which are all smoke group, only run those smoke group test cases only. And which are all the regression groups, those test cases you ignore. That's what we are telling. So then once you have a suit file, so what you need to do, just right click and run as testng suit. Individual test case, when you're running, run as testng test. If you are right clicking and running as a suit file, you have to select the run as testng suit. Click on this. See that only groups related to smoke test cases are executed from both classes. This is the groups test 1 class, 3 test cases, groups test 2, 3 test cases. So this is how you can execute total of 6 test cases. Same, you just turn on, right? Just so what you can do, I'll put include this one and I'll put this exclude. So I just changed it the order. Exclude here also we need to change exclude, and here it is include. So I'm including the regression, I'm excluding the smoke. Just right click again. So run as testng suit. See, only regression test case are executed from each class, right? But can I see the report? Yes, of course you can see. Just what you can do, refresh. A folder will create with this suit name. With this suit name, a folder will create under test output folder. So you have to just refresh the project, entire project, you refresh. So see here, go to test output folder. Can you see here group suit? This is the group suit. See group test.html. This is the only extra, but the emailable report and index.html is same. So you go to index.html and so those reports, it will show the latest one. See that? It's not the old one. See that? Regression test 1, regression test 2, 3, and rig test 1, rig test 2, rig test 3. So the latest report it is showing for you. And even if you want to see your XML file, you can see XML, your suit file. Your suit file you can see here. Okay, and you go to emailable report. You can see just refresh emailable report. This is the emailable report, right? Just refresh. See that total 6 passed, skipped 0, retried 0, failed 0, and total time it has taken this 393 milliseconds. Included groups regression, excluded groups smoke. So which groups you included, which groups you excluded, the group name also going to come here. That's one. But this one won't show the groups. See that is showing still old one, because it is, that is a different. And now this group, this is another folder is generated for you. So for that, what you need to do, just right click on this HTML report, copy that path, and then you can see latest that suit related report. You can see only groups test related report. If you want to see, so you just go here and paste it. So then groups related only it will show here. See that? Now groups related, but this one is the default test.html, but this one groups test.html, this one. So with the suit name, the folder will generate. That's an independent report you want. You have to create each suit file. So then report will be different for each suit file. Okay, so that's the this groups how to use. Any questions? Groups also done. All the keywords I am done. Only left one test case, but still more test cases are there. Don't worry. And we have to use next one is depends on methods and always run equal to true. These two concepts I want to show you. So let's finish that also. So the scenario, let me explain the scenario first. Then you can understand what we are doing here. So open linkedin.com. Okay, so linkedin.com, and this is the website. Okay, so this is the landing page, right? This is the landing page. So in this landing page, this is the home page for us. Now click on, this is the one test case. I'm creating one test case, this one basically. So LinkedIn home page, whatever it is. Then I'll click on this sign in button, sign in link. Then I'll go to login page. This page is different, right? This page is different. Then, so I'll type the username and password, click on sign in. So if you click on sign in, it will go to logged in page, right? Logged in page. Inside page it will go. Now, so after landing here, I need to verify some element here, right? Some element I have to change it here. So now what you can do here, I want to verify this this profile rail card. I'll verify this profile rail card. Then I can log out after that. After that, I'll log out. I can log out. Okay, just log out. Click on sign out link. So these are the three test cases. So I need to do sign out, right? So we need to do a sign out. So when you sign out, you are landing again home page. So these are the three test cases we are going to do. One is home page, second one is a login test, third one is a sign out. So just understand here the concept. Three scenarios we are doing. So the first scenario, there is no dependency. Okay, first test case. Second test case for login. So this page should be loaded for you, right, to go to login page. So that means login depends on this test case, home page test. So that's where depends on methods concept will come into picture. So any test method depends on the other method. You can use depends on method concept. Now I'm using depends on method concept here. So my login depends on my home page test. So then my sign out depends on login, right? If you logged in successfully, then only you can sign out. Otherwise you cannot sign out, right? So these are the three test cases we are going to do depends on methods. Let's see how to do that. Just go there, and here I'm going to use one more concept. So that is at rate parameters. At rate parameters concept I'm using here. So I'll take this ZK demo so that I can write three test methods, right? Just copy and paste it, then we can replace. So this is depends on methods parameters test. So I'm doing a depends on methods and parameters test. So I'm explaining here depends on methods and parameters. Leave this. Now the first test is LinkedIn home page. So LinkedIn home page. That's the first test. Okay. Now, so these are all things I will do later. But here before method, I don't need any before method. Just so opening the URLs, that's all enough for me. So this all these things I'll do in the before this LinkedIn homepage test only. Before method I don't need here, so I'm removing that. After method also I don't need any after method also. Just removing that also. So the second test method is, so what I'm doing, a do login test I'm putting. So this is my test case, do login test. So all login related I will do that. The next one is do logout test I'm doing. Next test case is do logout test. So this is these are all the things we don't need. Test wherever, if you want, you can reuse the code. That's okay. Then I'll remove all these things I don't want, right? So again, before method, anyhow, we need to launch the browser. The browser code launching is fixed here, so that we don't need to change. And after class also, I'm closing my browser. That also I don't want to change anything. So before class and after class I'm taking. Okay, before class and after class I'm taking this now. Okay, here, so log out to log in first. No, finish this home page test. So we'll finish the LinkedIn home page test. LinkedIn home page. So LinkedIn home page test. Okay, so started executing LinkedIn home page test. First, what you need to do, so open the URL, open the LinkedIn home page. So let's go here back. This is the website URL. Just give this URL. So I'm giving this URL. Let's give this. So then wait for the page title, right? You wait for the page title. So what is the page title? So inspect, get this page title. What are the page title you have? And title tag. Look for the title tag. Where the title tag, so you can find in the head tag easily. And if you are not finding, just search also. You can do a search also, right? This is the one you can see here. Just copy this title and you can validate this page title. Wait for this page title first. So wait. So I'm waiting for this page title using wait dot until expected conditions dot title is. I'm using title is. So then I can validate this page title using assert equals. Assert equals also I'm using. Still, if you want to validate assert true also we are using. Okay, done. But the test case still is there, right? Still we need to reporter dot log. So I need to click on this sign in. Click on sign in link. So you click on sign in link. So then driver dot find element. So by dot link text, because it's a link, right? It's a link. So spy on this and you copy, say a tag. A tag means it's a link. Sign in. Just copy this and paste it here. Dot click, dot click. So then I need to verify next page title. So verify the next page title. So I'm just verifying the next page title. So this is what we are going to do. So wait for the page title. That so page title will change. So you click on this, it will go to next page, right? That's a login. So this page title you need to get it. Go to header tag again, title tag. This is the title tag. You can look for this page title, right? So this is what I want to do in the first test case. Okay, we are done now. So I'm going to my login test. In the login test, what we need to do a login. Do a login to in website. But I don't want to give the parameter username password here. I don't want a hard code here. So what we need to do, so just write @parameters and give that parameters in the curly braces region. So double quotes, you name one parameter and second one password. Same you give in the test method also. String you name, string password, you give that. So @parameters. So org dot test ng annotations. I'm just giving org dot test ng annotations. Select that. So these are the two parameters we are doing. Now first what you need to do, I'll validate this sign in heading. So let's write, I will validate this sign in heading here. So you can use h1 dot class, the CSS selector you can use, wait for the wait and verify. So wait and verify the sign in heading. So how can verify? So wait dot until expected conditions. So dot presence of element. I'll do one more. Always we are doing presence, right? Visibility of element located. Visibility of element located. So this one I am take. So I'm waiting for the visibility of that element. So by dot CSS selector. So I'm writing a CSS selector. How can I write? If there is a class value, how can you write? H1 dot the class value, right? The tag name. The tag name. So the tag name I'm writing. I think there is a spaces. It might give a problem. So that we can write a different way. So tag name square bracket class, right? Class star equal to single quote, so that we can avoid the spaces, whatever it is. So you can do that. So let's go on, expand this so that you can see complete, right? Done. Now I want to type the, so reporter dot log, type the email. Now type the email in email edit box. So I have ID, so that I can take ID, right? So ID, just for this edit box, take ID. So where is the ID? Look for ID. Okay, input ID, and pass it here. So the method we need to use send keys. So which one you want to type? You name, don't put in double quotes, parameter name. So next, type the password in password edit box. Type the password in password edit box. So this I will take. Okay, this I'm going to take. So driver dot find element by dot name locator. Okay, not class. So don't take class. So name locator. So then put it inside double quotes. Name value you have to copy. Dot send keys PWD. So this parameter name only. Don't put in double quotes. So still we are not giving values here. I'm going to give values from XML file, suit file. From suit file, I'm going to give these values, username and password. So get the name locator value from, so this, just right click. I don't know why it is not showing. Inspect element. Yeah, name locator. So this is the session password is the name locator value. Copy and paste it here. Okay, done. So what is the next step? So reporter.log and click on sign in button. You need to click on sign in button. So you can do one more thing. You can check whether this is clickable or not. Let me use that. Wait dot until expected conditions. Dot element to be clickable, right? Element to be clickable you can use. So by dot, I'm writing XPath. So use the XPath. So before clicking on this sign in button, I'm checking whether it is clickable or not. So whether it is in clickable state or not. Basically, I'm checking that. So I'll use type and then I'll use ARIA label. Two attributes I can use. So with XPath, we can construct two values, right? So I'll write XPath with the two attributes. Observe that, guys. So button square bracket @type equal to single attribute, that single attribute submit. And how can you join two attributes? With and, right? With and ARIA label equal to the sign in value. So this is the one. Whether it is clickable or not, I'm just checking. So done. Then you click say. So click driver dot find element. So by dot XPath, give that XPath. So what are the XPath we have written? But in the real time, we are not going to write two times this XPaths, only one time. the element one time you will identify, then you will use. That's a more optimized way we are going to write. Don't worry about this. As of now, just bear with this 2 times. If tomorrow change happens, you need to change in 2 places, right? That we are going to avoid in the framework thing. Okay, done. So my login test is done. So what is the next? So logout test. So logout from LinkedIn. So just go there and log out. So do logout. So what you need to do, you have to verify some element, right? So you click on this, it will go to next page. To verify some element, any element you verify inside this. Maybe you can, if you can capture this, that's good. If you can capture that, that's good. That spinner icon, that's right, spinning. So that Ajax loading, if you can catch and you can write a method, wait dot until expected conditions dot invisibility of that element, you can do that. So as of now, I didn't capture that, fine. If you are able to capture it while logging into your LinkedIn. So then, so this rail card. So this rail card I'm validating, profile rail card we call this. So I'm validating this profile rail card. I'm not taking complete, I'll take a partial class value. So based on that, I'll write a XPath or CSS, whatever it is. Verify the profile rail card. Why you should not wait a page title? See that. Why we could not wait page title? See that. Feed LinkedIn, but here the dynamic values is coming. But you can use a title contains, right? This LinkedIn keyword is there already in the first pages. That's why I don't want to take that. And this element is not there in the previous pages. So it's a unique queue. So unique queue element I'm validating, I'm verifying. So verify the page profile rail card. So you verify that. So wait dot until expected conditions. So first visibility of element located. I'm just waiting for the visibility of XPath, and I'm going to do /div square bracket. Can use contains @class. So all these formulas, if you remember, your life is going to be very, very easy in the automation. So just one, yeah, done. So next, I can wait for the presence of element located. One more I'm writing. It's up to you. One is enough. Visibility of element located is enough. So you can write one more. So that is presence of element located. Presence of element located also I have done. Okay, good. So the next one is, so I have to click on this. Maybe so one more we can wait. Wait for the image. I want to log out now, right? This image icon, I have to wait for this. First I'll identify this element. Okay, let's identify. Here the img tag is there. You can take id or class. I'm taking a class value, so let's take the class value. And profile image icon we call this, profile image icon. So wait dot, maybe I'll identify this element first. Let's identify web element profile image icon equal to, so driver dot find element, so by dot class name, use the class value. So what I'm going to do here is, and I'm going to wait for the visibility of this element. So how I'm waiting, just observe this, guys. Wait dot until, one more method I'm using here, expected conditions dot visibility of element. So there is a visibility of, so element name I can give. So this element name I'm going to pass. So visibility of this element, and then I'll click on this. So reporter dot log, and we can click on. You need to click. If you click only, this sign out link will show you. This sign out link will show you. If you are not clicking, it won't show. That's why you need to click on this image icon. So I'm clicking on this. Click on profile image icon. So just element dot click method. So element dot click. So next, so reporter dot log. So identify the sign out link. Identify the sign out link. So web element. So sign out. Sign out link. Driver dot find element by dot XPath only we need to use. Just remove this method. So we'll write an XPath. So a tag is there, but contains text you can use, right? So you can use contains text. So right click. So you just right click. Maybe relative XPath will give you or not. It just six here. Relative XPath is giving. You can take properly. So you can take relative XPath one, contains text is there. So I'll take this. Relative XPath is copy this XPath, copy, and I can use that. So that's the advantage with the relative XPath. Right, I identified. So then I'll wait for the visibility of this, and I'm going to click on this. That's it, guys. That's all the things we are going to do. Before clicking, I'm waiting for the visibility of that. Then I'm clicking on that. Click on sign out. Done. So we are done. But sorry, it's taking time. Okay, that's fine. We'll stop it here because it's very late.
Ramesh,
And
I
tomorrow
think
we'll continue.